Today's show is sponsored by our friends at distilleryproducts.com. I could talk about this forever. You already know the drill. If you need awesome laser etched glassware at wholesale prices and you are a bourbon group, you are a store, you're a distillery, you got to talk to the folks at distilleryproducts.com. Reach out to me. I would be happy to get you in touch with them. They have amazing prices and do amazing work at distilleryproducts.com. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Orca Coolers. Make this summer the coolest summer ever with Orca. They have something for everyone, from American-made, lifetime guaranteed hardside coolers to stainless steel whiskey barrel tumblers. They're ready to have your name on it. I got a hard cooler, a soft cooler. I got a few of these whiskey barrel tumblers. I'm getting ready to make my barbecues awesome. Use code DADS20 for 20% off of your order at Orca Coolers. That is code DADS20, and you're going to get 20% off, and that actually means something pretty substantial when you go to get a new cooler. So check them out, orcacoolers.com. Use code DADS20 for 20% off. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at action247.com. You want action? Get in on the action at action247.com, the only sports book by Tennesseans for Tennesseans, and it is the NHL playoffs. The Preds are playing against the Carolina Hurricanes. So for every Preds playoff games, if the Preds win, you win. Bet $5 on the game, and you'll get a $10 free bet for every goal the Preds win by. So if they win by 4-1, you're going to get a $30 free bet. The Grizzlies are also in the playoffs. NBA playoffs are going on. Bet $5 on the Grizzlies. If they win, you get your winnings plus a $12 free bet. And of course, if you use code DADS100, they are going to match up to $400 of your deposit. Check out all the boosts they have. Visit the special section of their sports book at action247.com.
So I was riding down the road the other day. You know, like every now and then, like something kind of catches your eye that you read, and it's not necessarily the words in like what you read, but like once you digest it, it just doesn't make any sense. And you're just kind of like befuddled for an infinite amount of time.
I mean, I'm befuddled for a good amount of time anyway, but continue.
I see this sign on a business. Now, you tell me what goes through your mind if you read or see this sign. Vegan, sunless tanning.
I don't really know how to take that.
Same here. I was like, I mean, it hit me pretty high on the, oh shit, surely I didn't read that right. Like, F it. I got an extra 2 minutes. I'm going to loop around the block just to make sure I actually read that sign correctly, because this is aggravating me, because I can't figure out how this makes any sense in the damn world. I read it correctly, though.
I mean, at that point, I probably would have gone in. If I took the time to loop back around, I would have taken the time to go in and say, wait. Vegan refers to food, sunless tanning. Like, how the hell do you have sunless tanning? Number one, but like, I didn't know that there was a vegan and non-vegan way to tan.
Same here, bro. I mean, I guess I could have rolled up in there and been like, hey, nothing else in the world's ever got my pasty white ass to tan. Well, you think that vegan sunless tanning do a trick?
Maybe this is what it is. Okay, I got it. I just Googled while we were talking, and it says there are cruelty-free vegan self-tanners. So maybe the whole thing is that you can put on tanning lotion that is vegan, and that would make sense. But like, if you're going in a booth, I don't know how you could go in a booth and have it be vegan.
I mean, I still don't understand what vegan had to do with it. Ain't that like what you eat? And then a dietary lifestyle or modification, I guess? I mean,
well, I think it would just be animal free. So it would be something that's animal free in the lotion. Like, so the tanning lotion does not have anything to do with animals whatsoever. It is a plant-based lotion.
Well, I mean, you'd be disqualified from the get-go. They'd be like, sorry, sir, you already halfway meet the requirements for a bear. You can't go vegan.
I could never go vegan. They'd take one look at me and just be like, no. We know the truth. You know, even if I went vegan, like, I would have to lose a considerable amount of weight before I could actually go vegan, because nobody would believe I was vegan.
Sorry if that caught anybody the wrong way, but it has literally, I've laughed about it for like 3 days now. Just like, vegan, sunless tanning. Like, how is that even a thing?
I have no idea. All right, this makes me want to drink. Let's start the show.
1, 2, 3.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and with me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drink of Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. Zeke Baker, how are you?
Oof, the allergy sinus struggle is real, my friend. I'm not gonna lie. I'm doing good to get through this. I pretty much gave you all I had there on that open.
You have a man cold?
Man, my nose has not stopped running for 4 days. I mean, literally, I'm going through more Kleenex than like the first time when you're 16, your parents are gone for a weekend.
You haven't really been able to do this with COVID, but one of my favorite lines from Forrest Gump is when Jenny's like, Forrest, I'm sick. He's like, what's the matter, Jenny? You got a cough due to cold? And I'm just thinking about you, like, you are just milking this. I mean, you've been complaining about your nose to me for days.
I mean, I'm doing the best I can. Literally, I blow my nose easily 100 times a day right now.
Thank God you are no longer in a retail pharmacy and you are back behind a desk, because like nothing would be better than somebody coming to get their medicine and you're sitting there going, hold on, let me get it for you.
Actually, I always preferred that. You just blow your nose or do something real obnoxious. You got any questions over? Hold on 1 minute. They just look at you like, no, man, I'm good. I'll call you if I need something. All right, thank you.
Like, are you wearing gloves? No glove, no drugs. I do have to apologize, everybody. I am sorry. I've been in a little bit of a funk. It's totally my fault. Work has been kicking my ass. I know that we have only got out, this is the third episode we've got out this month, so we owe you 2 more. There are going to be 2 makeup episodes sometime this month. I just have not been able to, and honestly, last episode, the one we did on Foregate, it's one of those episodes, Zeke, where my energy was not up, and you called me out on it before, and I remember because we were going to record 2 that night, and I told you after, I said, I'm dead tired, I can't do another one, and you can hear it so much in my voice, like the way I'm talking. It took me forever to edit that episode because I just couldn't get through it because I wanted to slap myself in the face the whole time.
Yeah, that makes 2 of us.
I mean, you got a new haircut. You got a pretty new haircut.
I mean, it's one of those things, you don't have to worry or think of anymore, but I still try and look clean when I can. Had them leave it a little bit longer in the front to, add some youthfulness, hopefully.
To hide the fact that your hairline's receding?
I mean, it never really grew in that far to begin with. I've showed you pictures of high school. I mean, I had a downhill battle here, so I'm doing what I can.
You're looking good. We're happy you're here. Anything news-wise you want to talk about? Did you hear that CYPB was named the best whiskey in the world?
I did not. I did see, coincidentally, an article about Weller yesterday or today, and they were talking about the San Fran, and let's see, they said that CYPB, Full Proof, and then Weller Straight Bourbon, which I assume is William LaRue, because I couldn't think of anything else, and plus they listed the whole damn line elsewhere. As far as the line of products, those got double gold, OWA, and single barrel got gold, and then Weller 12 and Special Reserve just got silver. That is comical, if nothing else, the people that pine over a Weller 12 still, and then it pulls a silver. It's
very oaky for me. Weller,
it is. I mean, we've said long ago. I mean, I think I've owned 3 ever, and at least 2 of those were for family friends that I just passed off to, and I think I've drank 1, and after that, I was like, I think I'm good here.
But it was the World Whiskeys Awards 2021. World's Best Bourbon was CYPB. The tasting note says the nose is punchy with complex floral and fruity notes. The palate follows with rich fruits, including figs and raisins, paired down with some subtle vanilla warmth. There's some bold rye spice that is met with brown sugar on the finish. It's delicious and well-balanced.
I mean, forever and a day ago when it first came out and we reviewed it, I think I gave it the highest marks of anyone. I mean, granted, I'm still not chasing any down, and I haven't had one since and don't need one, but it is a good pour for what it is. At retail or close to it as well, at $4 or $5 or whatever $100 or more it is now in secondary. Nah, bro, they can keep it.
I think we got it from retail because Tarek was nice enough from Elixir Spirits in Spring Hill, Tennessee. He was nice enough to let us get one at retail. He knew we wanted it for the show. We put it up blind against every other Weller. I think I still had OWA as number 1. I think I had CYPB as a solid number 2. I am pretty safe to say that even with Weller Foolproof in there, I think those would still be my top 2. Think Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. Yes, were there a bunch of people that went on the website and just put in mash bills to see what would happen and did not think that this was going to turn into an actual whiskey? 100%. I still think that they probably got a lot of good data from there and had to mine through it and figure it out. So I wonder how much it's actually the results of that website, or we kind of got ish from the website and then we kind of tweaked it to what we thought it should be. But either way, it's a solid release. Good job. It comes out at 95 proof. So it's like kind of that in between. It's the in between the OWA and the Weller Special Reserve.
I won't ramble on this, but I'm pretty firm in my belief that the accuracy of that survey were going to come out a certain way regardless of the submissions. I mean, me and you and 8 other people could have, submitted data and known what everyone submitted. Well, the results are, but only that one guy over there voted for a wheater. We all talked about it. Again, the results are.
Thanks for playing. But anyways, congratulations to Buffalo Trace and Sazerac for CYPB being World Whiskey Awards World's Best Bourbon in 2021. I'm with you. If I could find it retail, which good luck, but if you could find this one retail, it's solid. It's hard for me to pay secondary for Weller unless it's William LaRue.
On an up note, though, at least it was already essentially non-findable, so it shouldn't be on anybody's radar, honestly. So, if you're going to follow the hype train and that kind of stuff, I would rather they just go ahead and, perpetuate something that's already in the stratosphere all the way on out to oblivion versus taking a product that at least now you can find on the shelf and then suddenly everybody in the world wants it because it wins some award, and oh shit, well, product X and Y, I can't find those anymore. Used to be on the shelf $45. Now it's $100 if you find it. You know what I mean? Like, just go ahead and blow out the water, the ones that are already, not on the radar. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, so you're happy they didn't McKenna it.
Yeah. Or like I say, anything else. But yeah, just don't take something that people enjoy and can find and then suddenly, immediately change its status.
What the hell are you going to do when Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof wins an award?
Actually, it probably has. It's just, it's Jack. I think by now enough people know that we are big fans of it, to say the least. We've preached that gospel a good bit now. The tide hadn't turned yet, man. I hope and think we're safe on that to a degree. Could be wrong, but I sure as hell hope not.
I know for a fact there is no other podcast that has picked as much Jack Daniel Barrel Proof collectively as you and I.
I've helped on 10 now.
I've helped on 4. I'm not on 10, but I've done 4.
Bang, bang.
I've done 4 barrel proofs and 2 Jack Daniel Select, which one will be
rye too.
Yeah. And one will be coming out. A Jack Daniel Select will be coming out in June at Franklin Wine and Spirits. And that was picked by me, our friend Rourke, our friend Dan Blair, the Bearded Dram, and then our friend Tim, Nashville Bourbon Enjoyment, and Rourke is Suburban Dad Survival, along with some people from Franklin Wine and Spirits. So that will be a great barrel. Let you know when that comes out. But fair enough. CYPB wins World's Best Whiskey from the World Whiskey Awards. Now let's talk about another whiskey. This is Blood Oath Pact 7. And there is a huge press release, a lot of information in here. This is from Lux Row. Master Distiller renews Bourbon Pact with fans by creating Blood Oath Pact 7 Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey. Lux Row Distillers is launching Blood Oath Pact 7 Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey finished in Sautern's cask. Pact 7 is the latest in a series of Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey blends created by Lux Row Master Distiller John Rempe. Available at retail starting mid-April, so we're past that, we're a month late. Blood Oath Pact 7 has a limited allocation of just over 17,000 cases, so that's about 51,000 bottles, at a suggested MSRP of $99.99 per bottle. Here's where you should pay attention. So I'm actually going to call that out for you now, Zeke, so you know the specific areas I want you to pay attention to. You listening?
I am.
In a blend only known to Rempe, Blood Oath Pact 7 features a combination of 3 Kentucky straight bourbon whiskeys, a 14-year ride bourbon, an 8-year ride bourbon, and an 8-year ride bourbon finished in Sauternes casks. Sauternes is a sweet wine from the small town of Sauternes in the Bordeaux region of France.
So is that red or white? I don't know shit like that.
It is a white wine, Zeke Baker.
So did I miss this part, or did you say the size of the release?
I said it was 17,000 cases and 51,000 bottles.
I heard the bit about one of the 3 components, which was a rye bourbon, which I'm going to assume to mean 51% corn, but then also rye and malted barley in there. Was the final blend finished, or just one component featured the finished aspect prior to the blending or mingling or however you want to call it?
So it's a combination of 3 whiskeys. There's a 14-year bourbon that's a high rye. It's the 3 whiskeys.
You say a ride bourbon.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me. A ride bourbon is just a high rye bourbon, not a wheated bourbon. Or a ride bourbon is just bourbon with rye, not bourbon with wheat.
Yep. Okay.
And then there's 2 out of the 3 are not finished. 1 is finished in the Sauternes.
Gotcha. So the final product was not also finished, just one of the components.
Yes.
Okay.
He names the series Blood Oath because he vows to be the only one who knows where these whiskeys have come from. He also promises to make the best bourbon for the bourbon connoisseur with each pact.
But all of these have had a finish, correct? In my mind, I think they've all been some form of a wine finish, but I'm not well versed on this enough to be certain on that statement.
100%. Each one has had a finish component to it. You are 100% right on that.
Was it always a wine finish, or are you uncertain on that too? Honestly, I don't know.
I mean, there's been 7 of them. I think one had some cognac. It's been different stuff. It's whatever John wants to do.
Yeah. I just didn't know, so I thought there for shits and giggles.
So we've gone through all of the stuff that you normally fall asleep for. What do you think about this whiskey, Zeke Baker?
Well, my apologies to everyone. This will be a one-angled review. As I mentioned, I've been on the struggle bus for a minute with these sinuses. I did get notes on this earlier in the week when I felt a little more confident about my senses. So hopefully it's somewhat spot on, but I ain't been able to smell shit in a few days, really. Sorry. So palate-wise, I thought that initially I got a big pop of both spice as well as a mineral component. I wouldn't call it minerals like the vitamin aspect that folks get out of, some Dickel juice and whatnot, but it just had a minerality to it, more earthy, I felt like. That you could definitely tell there was somewhat of a wine influence. And where I really caught that the most was I picked up a lot of wet oak tannins. Hopefully that makes sense. It just seemed like the oak tannins that were in there were really just kind of soggy and saturated, and just they had I don't know, it just felt wet to me for whatever reason. Upon some chewing, the spice fades off pretty decently, and then as the spice fades off, so did a fair amount of the overall profile. I felt like I went back through it a second time, especially on the front end. It didn't pop at me as much. I think I was a little more ready for what was coming. I also picked up much more of a peanutty profile on the front end, but it definitely still had a strong spice and minerality components. Finish-wise, it lingers and hangs for a while, but it is, again, back to those wet tannins I really felt like I was picking up. Overall, I just felt like this had a fair amount of the wine influence to it, and it seemed kind of thin throughout, but kind of on the wine influence. And to me, the biggest part where I caught that was that kind of wet oak tannins. It just seemed like, from one of the wines I've had that seemed, more oaky, I would put this in that landscape. And I'm by no means the best person to judge wine, but on my limited experience, I felt like that's where it landed.
You can't judge a wine by its cover.
What about its color?
I kind of go towards reds if I'm going to drink wine, but I don't really drink a lot of wine anymore. Wine gives me headaches. We've talked about this a lot, Zeke. Just we're not big wine finish guys. especially the Sauternes. You know, the last Sauternes we had was the Jefferson's Grand Selection a few years ago, and I have the same problem with this one that I did with that. I think if you like white wine, if you like wine finished whiskey, this is going to be your jam. Go ahead and get it. Let's talk about things I like first. I love that this is a limited release that's at $100. I think that is awesome. More distilleries need to put out limited releases under $100. So my hat's off to Lux Row for that. This is just very dry. There is a very dry wine component across the board. And I agree with Zeke on the mineral aspect of it as well, but it's very dry to me and it's just not my jam. But if you like wine, here is a sub $100 LTO that you should go seek out. But for me, I just don't like the dryness. I like something that's sweet, a little thicker, a little bigger mouthfeel. It's just not what I look for, but if you like wine finished stuff, then it's a very solid pour.
So point of reference, just because I try to understand where you and I both go sometimes on these things, the dryness you're getting out of that. Like I say, I felt like it seemed like wet oak to me, just in the sense of a lot of, I guess, straight bourbons. I've had more of a charry, bitter, that kind of dry feeling, but this just really seemed like soggy wood to me, or almost like when you pull a cork out of wine, and you know how they're just I don't know, it's just saturated. I don't know. I can't really put a whole lot of words to it, but that's where I was.
I would agree with that on the front palate, but the second it goes to mid palate to finish is where the dryness of the wine really kicks up for me and just takes over.
Okay, yeah, like the way it hangs around.
Yeah, and it's just dry, and it's not dry in a way that makes you want to take another sip. It's why I normally don't like white wine. White wine is too dry for me. I like a red wine. I like something a little bit more fruity. I like a little more sweet. I know that people really do love some white wine. It's just not my jam.
Gotcha. So maybe wet's not the best word for me, but because it wasn't like it didn't feel dry, but the type of oak and the flavor I got of the tannins, they just seemed like soaked. I don't know. I couldn't get past that kind of feeling about it.
No, I get what you're saying. I mean, the front of it was bold. And then it turned. Like the second it hit the roof of my mouth, it was just like, all right, I'm different now.
Yeah, it was the day and night difference.
And it was like when the sun, that moment where the sun just goes below the horizon, it's now night. You know, like it's that switch where it's like, all right, we're ready to go now.
I mean, I will at least say, especially in the realm of wine finishes and this particular type of wine, based on the stuff we've had in the past, I definitely made the least ugly, frowny, awkward-looking faces tasting this one compared to those other ones.
No, I mean
so, some of those previous ones, man, we were like, you want to finish my pour?
It's like, do you want us to do this review?
Can we invite some guests in for this one?
That's when people go to send us stuff, and I'm like, we don't like wine finishes, right? Just want to throw that out there for you. You take it as you want to, but it's not our jam.
At the same time, I mean, I still enjoy these and pushing the boundaries and limits a little bit of retesting the palate, seeing, what different things we pick up. And, who knows? Taste buds change. I mean, I kind of knock on wood, hope this doesn't become my wheelhouse for a profile, but I enjoy tasting some off things here and there just to get a full run of the mill.
I'm not gonna lie, I want to taste more of them until I find one that really is my jam. I'm like, once I find that one that you and I both say that's a really good whiskey, 100%. I think the thing with this is, it's like I said over and over, if you like wine finished whiskey, this is going to be right up your alley. The front of the palate, though, for me is if that was the profile throughout, if that rang true throughout this, maybe if it was just the blend of the three whiskeys without the Sauternes finished in there as well, maybe it would be a different story. But it's the second the second it turned, I wanted it to go back to what it was before.
I don't know. I think that white wine might be what gives it some of the kick and the bite in the front end, or not bite, but just the way that spice. I mean, that spice comes off and it pops like woohoo. And I mean, it's not overwhelming, but it's just such a, overwhelming. it's not like hot, but it's such a just noticeable force of the palate. You're like, whoa, that came in at me swinging. Either way, I think we would both agree that I would rather have a taste of this than vegan sunless tanning lotion.
150%. Like 300%. Nothing about vegan sunless tanning lotion. I don't want animals to die for people to have tanning lotion. I'll say that. I'm not afraid to say that. But
did I ever tell you about the tanning bed experience I had? So back in the high school days, one of my dad's friends in town, small town, she owns a tanning studio. Well, somehow they get to bullshitting, and dad's giving me and my best friend hell about being, almost albinos, quote unquote. So she's like, Steve, I own a tanning salon. Why don't you send them here? He's like, it ain't going to work. Them two boys can't tan for nothing. Ain't going to happen. So they end up making a bet. She would let us come tan for free for a month. And if we'd actually tanned, he had to pay up. If we didn't, no harm, no foul. Went damn near every day for a month. Didn't get a shade darker. Neither one of us.
I can only imagine your dad being like I told you so.
Yeah, we were like, we're here for our daily drop in. They're like, you going to pay? Like, just talk to what's her name in the back. They got some bet going.
Going back to this, I would probably suggest having it at a bar if you think for whatever reason you might have our palates. But if you like wine finished, again, sub $100 limited edition, buy that shit all day. Like,
it's unique. It's not off-putting. And there's plenty of angles to enjoy it. I mean, that being said, it's not mine. I don't think your jam per se, but it's not one of those things where you, no matter who it was, like, hey, should I get that? Like, not so much, bro. Not so much. I mean, I wouldn't classify it as that by any means.
No, not at all. I think it's one of those things where it's like, hey, man, if you like some wine finished shit, go ahead and drop $100 on it. The worst thing you're going to do, go trade a Weller 12 and buy 2 of these.
This will be one of those where, inevitably, like, folks will, you'd be bullshitting with somebody or like online or something like, oh man, have you had this? I had it the other day. I really loved it. You guys should get one, or can I send you a sample? Like, we might have reviewed it a couple of months ago and didn't really get the overall seal of approval, but thanks for being considerate.
Totally agree.
Still ISO more Tommy Bahama bourbon. That one does crack me up the most, I think, of anything. And it's not a dig, but it's just funny to laugh about. They're like, Tommy Bahama has a bourbon? What the hell?
I still can't get over that. Like when people ask, it's like, did you know Tommy Bahama has a bourbon?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been good conversation all around. Like, I'll take that over half the stuff we get.
I feel like we need to buy one at this point and just like keep it someplace. Just so it's a conversation piece, like build it into a coffee table and then have somebody be like, is that Tommy Bahama bourbon? Yep.
Even once it's gone, you just refill the bottle with something just so you continually have the conversation piece.
Yeah. Like it has to say someplace that the second people walk into your house, they see Tommy Bahama bourbon.
It could be one of those things where like somebody, invites us over, just casual friends. And like, somebody there that they tell you likes bourbon. Oh, we told so-and-so you're going to be there and you're a bourbon person. They want you to bring, something, nice. You walk in with like Tommy Bahama bourbon, and then even better, wearing like one of the big, like floral Tommy Bahama shirts. just look like completely the half goofy as hell. Like, this guy's supposed to know bourbon. Like, get out of here.
I have to tell you that I have never owned a floral shirt or a Hawaiian shirt because I feel like at my size, if I were to do that, everybody would find that too stereotypical.
I would just find it very Dom DeLuise-ish.
Exactly.
But that being said, I would say the list of possibilities for Father's Day stuff on you, we've done good this episode. That vegan sunless tanning lotion and a Hawaiian shirt to wear once you have the tan.
I would rather just stick to some overalls.
Now we just got to go back to you running off the houseboat in the tornado with the inner tube over your arm.
No, I would rather
and the flippy floppies.
I would rather just have overalls.
Well, you got to get some cutoff ones though.
I'll wear cutoff overalls. I don't care.
And like no shirt and one strap.
We all want me to have a shirt on. Let's be honest. Nobody wants me to take it off.
That's what they're overalls. overalls. They cover up 2/3 of the front. They even cover a part of your hairy back.
You may not be feeling well, but you were really struggling last episode. You were not getting any jokes. That was the other terrible part that was making it hard for me to record. I will tell everybody while we're wrapping up here, I know everybody has wanted some more interviews. We are going to be, as things open up, Zeke and I, it's my fault. I don't love the virtual interviews. Zeke and I can go virtual all we want. I think with this whole thing, we've realized that Zeke and I can be virtual and still have rapport because Zeke's my boy. That's kind of how it is. Like, we know each other. We've been doing this long enough, but I hate having interviews with people virtually. It's always awkward. People don't know when to talk. It's just a different feeling in person. So we are working on getting more interviews in person. There are still going to be some virtual ones from time to time, but we are looking forward to having more interviews. I know that's feedback we always get from all of you that you wish we had more. So do we, and we're going to fix it.
Hey, I mean, at least you can tell I'm not sick. I just have a damn runny nose and it's killing my voice. But the inner asshole, he's here 110% right now. You're
always here. And on that note, Zeke, you asshole, if people want to find you, they should DM you at easybaker at Instagram.com. That is easybaker. Tell Zeke that you want all of our picks in the future, anything that's going on, just like if we have a pick coming out and you see it, he's the one you want to DM. That's easybaker at Instagram. He is Zeke Baker. If you go to a bourbon group, he is the only person named Zeke. He will help you figure out how to make a label, whatever it is you need. He is there for you.
It's not even the throw under the bus treatment. That's throwing like one of those double 18-wheelers.
Payback's a bitch. You can find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Again, Zeke's Instagram is easybaker at Instagram.com. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please leave us an open and honest review like we leave open and honest reviews about the whiskey we drink. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Good old Nashville, Tennessee, and not checking my DMs.
That's easybaker at Instagram.com. Cheers.
Ciao.